This is Hannibal here from the Hannibal TV on YouTube with a daily wrestling news update for you. One thing that a few fans have pointed out to me lately, and I mean, there's an overabundance of it on WWE Unreal, but over the weekend you had a lot of hugging in wrestling as well. And it's not just over the weekend, it's constantly in it. There's just one thing I want to say about all this hugging and crying and why I think it's bad for the business. In the past, there used to be kayfabe. The lines were blurred on how much of it was real, how much of it was scripted, and then you knew it was fake, but the bad guys, you really thought they were bad, and the good guys, you thought they were pretty good guys overall. Now it seems like, hey, we got writing teams, everything's scripted. All of these guys are actual friends that hug, and they're not even fighting each other. They're just doing what the producers tell them to do. It's just basically a pure non-union, which it should be under SAG. If it's scripted and the wrestling matches are scripted, it should be considered a fight scene, because you're not even trying to tell us that it's called on the fly anymore. You're telling us in Unreal that it's totally scripted. So my only thing is, I guess we just watch it now for those that still watch because you think it's like a performance art. I mean, that's the only reason you would watch, because there's no kayfabe whatsoever. So we're just watching this because they're going to pretend to fight, and then they're going to hug after. And it's not real at all, and we're not even going to try and pretend that it's real, because there's a show called Unreal, the Triple H, who's one of the executives and the company runs, and these guys just fought, and let's all take a picture together after. I don't know. I'm just not interested in it at all. I'll report on it because it's better than a normal job, but I don't understand why people still find it interesting to watch. Even Tay Hall, who I guess, or maybe I'm pronouncing it wrong, Taya Hale, who just won some type of NXT title, apparently made a comment saying that Matt Bloom had told her the finish to do, and he told her to really lay in the Swanton Bomb, I think it was. And it's just like, you're not even going to kayfabe when you win a title. Like, you're going to credit the producer for coming up with your finish. Is this really what wrestling has become? By the way, TNA Impact, their second week on AMC last week, did a 0.03, down from the previous week's 0.04, which actually, the previous week, they got a better rating than Collision. AEW Collision got a 0.03. The week that they got a 0.04. We do not have the Collision number out yet from last Saturday. So we won't be able to compare TNA to AEW there yet. However, Dynamite last week only did a 0.08. And WWE Hall of Famer Devon Dudley, who has had a lot to say about Jim Ross lately, and some people are speculating. I know Jim Ross has a ton of health issues, but he is the highest paid announcer in wrestling. He's one of these, I guess you could say, a charity case for AEW, because there's a lot of them, like Jake Roberts. I mean, they wouldn't be a charity case if you actually used them as advisors or use them more, but it doesn't seem like you do much with these guys. I can't imagine that Jim Ross is advising AEW on their product these days. Anyways, a lot of people suspect that the real reason, and this is just hearsay, why Jim Ross is off AEW TV again could be because of the controversy with Devon coming out about something 20 years ago, accusing Jim Ross of being racist. But again, that's just why some people believe that Jim Ross is off of AEW TV. But Devon said the reason he thinks TNA is going to overtake AEW is because, and I agree with this, Tony Khan is a guy that has a lot of yes men around him. They're just happy to get their paychecks. They'll put him over. Hey, you're doing great. You're doing great. Product is awesome. Keep us on the payroll. Because he's not changing anything. He's gone from big arenas and instant sellouts to running arenas that hold less than 1,000 a lot of the times. Ratings, worse than TNA in some cases. Yes, they have outliers where they can pull a good crowd here and there, but when they do pull a crowd, like they did in Texas last year, they did an 8-hour show. How many, that was their biggest crowd last year. How many of those people are going to come back after having to sit through an 8-hour show? Because I'm a wrestling fan, and you asked me to be anywhere for 8 hours, unless maybe, I guess anything for 8 hours is a job. To sit through an 8-hour wrestling show, that is just torture for most people, other than the absolutely obsessed fans. So I agree with Devon. Tony Khan promotes for a very niche audience. And I don't think that's going to change anytime soon. And I do think, even though TNA is a farm system for WWE, I do think TNA is going to regularly beat Collision, because they've pretty much given up on Collision, guys. They've got all these famous people under contract. They hadn't used Chris Jericho since April. And his contract only ran out in December. He could have been a Collision staple. There's so many people they have under contract. Britt Baker, who I guess is maybe losing value because they haven't had her on TV for so long. Because apparently she had some beef, according to the rumor and innuendo, with MJF's wife backstage. So because MJF has more pull backstage, supposedly that's why she's been off TV. But there's better talent you could be using on Collision than just making it a throwaway show. Collision now is getting worse ratings than Rampage was getting, and it was canceled. But let's face the facts here. All of AEW's TV on WBD is probably going to be gone by the end of the year because Netflix has taken over. WWE is in bed with Netflix, and I don't see WWE wanting Netflix to keep them on TV once they take over. Braun Strowman, who was released by WWE last year, has some sort of knee infection. Another guy, good look, but he was blessed, paid to train, made a lot of money in this business, didn't pay any dues, was never really over. Seth Rollins says he's not going to be at Royal Rumble because of an injury, but who knows? Because now they've trained us to think, after watching Unreal Season 2, even an injury that they really present as real could be a fake injury. But Seth Rollins made a comment and said he's not going to be at Royal Rumble, but he believes Braun Breaker, Logan Paul, Austin Theory, Javon Evans, and Carmelo Hayes are the 5 young stars people should keep an eye out for. Logan Paul, he's already a star, which, by the way, I gotta pump the biceps here. Logan Paul is already a star. That's why they brought him in, because they're having issues creating their own stars. But yeah, Logan Paul, I mean, to me, the stuff he does is very choreographed looking, and he's another guy that does no kayfabe at all. A lot of stunt wrestling, but I'll admit he's one of their most over guys. Braun Breaker, they've dropped the ball with him. He's done a lot of jobs that he shouldn't have had to do, such as jobbing to Sami Zayn and others several times. He should have been brought in as an unstoppable monster. And why do they not go off of the whole Steiner thing more? Why isn't it Braun Steiner or Bronson Steiner, his real name? Bronson Rex Steiner. Why do we have to go with this Breaker last name? I don't know. Austin Theory, they've been pushing Austin Theory to the moon for years now, and he has not got over. Clearly, if they have Seth Rollins, one of the company guys, saying in an interview that he's one of the guys with the future, then I guess that's the case. They're still going to push Austin Theory to the moon, even though he's not getting over. Oscar De La Hoya, I guess, defaulted on a downtown LA office loan. He was $23 million in debt. This property here on Wilshire Boulevard in LA. I guess he's not doing too well financially, and that property is being defaulted. Charlotte and Liv Morgan were together at a spa. Exactly. I mean, there's no effort to kayfabe anymore, and they don't have to draw because of Saudi Arabia paying them like $150 million for the Royal Rumble. Yes, that show will bring people. It's the first out of the U.S. Royal Rumble, to my knowledge, but they have a default amount of money. You don't have to put up money. There's only going to be 4 matches on that pay-per-view because they're already getting money from ESPN. They don't need people, which I hear ESPN has been disappointed, according to Freddie Prinze Jr., who follows wrestling, who knows people in ESPN. They've been disappointed with the numbers of people that have been subscribing since WWE has been added to the ESPN service. But back in the days where you needed to sell pay-per-views, it seems like they put more effort into getting the pay-per-views over. But Chris Jericho is probably going to come to Royal Rumble, so that's something to see. It'll be interesting to see how much of a difference he makes. By the way, Cody Rhodes did an interview heading into the Royal Rumble saying he took a real gamble jumping to WWE, what was it, 3 years ago now? I don't know if he took a gamble because he was kind of, from what I understand, part of the deal was he was going to get eventually a world title run with the company by switching. From what I understand, that was part of the deal. And it's not like Tony Khan wouldn't have taken Cody Rhodes back. Do I think it was one of Tony Khan's worst decisions ever to let Cody Rhodes go? Yes. Because you could pinpoint at that point in time is when AEW's downfall really started. They lost Cody Rhodes. A lot of AEW fans that were Cody fans followed him to WWE, and it just started losing momentum. And I really don't see them gaining any momentum back anytime soon. You look, apparently WWE has won the war to get Evil, one of these New Japan wrestlers that a lot of the smart marks like. So it's like now everyone wants to go to WWE because AEW is just not seen as a legitimate number 2 anymore. As we talked about earlier, TNA. A lot of people are looking at TNA as number 2. Yeah, R-Truth. He got a huge 4-year contract. All they did was make him shave his head, say he was going to be Ron Killings. Then a couple weeks later, he's back doing the goofy R-Truth stuff in a segment I saw that one of the stupid writers wrote on SmackDown where R-Truth interrupts a promo of Braun Breaker and R-Truth says that, of Brock Lesnar, and R-Truth comes out and says that he's Lesnar's brother from another mother, and it was so lame. It was almost embarrassing to watch. Yeah, a powerhouse Hobbs and Jericho probably could have got better money, but it's a slap in the face to have Jericho under contract since April and do nothing with him till the end of December. Why? And to me, that makes you miss Chris Jericho to the point where I actually want to see him. Is he going to have his gut? Is he going to come in lean? Is this going to be a Chris Jericho and I think it will be. I got nothing against Trish. At one point, he said some stuff about Billy Graham that I had issues with, and some people question. I was doing that Alice Cooper look in wrestling with the spike jackets around 2014 before he took it to Japan. Whatever. I still like him overall, and I'm happy that he's going to have this chance to be like AEW. You didn't put me on TV from April to December. I'm going to go to WWE now and show you what a difference maker I could be. And I even saw him do an interview where he was like, the AEW shows now, they're going to arenas that remind me of Winnipeg independent wrestling with Tony Condello. They're going to ballrooms. They're going to hotel studios now in Las Vegas instead of the MGM Grand. Like, it's not the top one anymore. AEW fans love the hug and kiss, and well, it's in WWE too. I just don't see the point of showing it. It's like, don't shove it in our face. Hey, everybody's friends. We're just friends. We hug after matches. Like we've had John Cena hugging CM Punk, and CM Punk saying John Cena is the greatest of all time after a promo where CM Punk said he was the doctor of Punkonomics just a few months earlier, and in the ring dissing John Cena. So it's like, how can we take any of this seriously anymore? At some point, you got to be in it a little bit. And all the table spots now, it seems like when you have a table spot, it always zooms in on the logo on the table after, because now they have Slim Jim logos on the table. So it's like, oh my God, the devastating table spot. Now take a look at this sticker here for Slim Jim, conveniently posted right on the table. I don't know. Why should Jericho retire? There's money on the table. As long as the new wrestlers like Austin Theory, and again, Jericho has not been the kindest to me from what I understand over the years. But I don't hold any grudge against him. I really don't. And I was a fan of him in WCW. But I don't think you should retire when you could make millions. Wrestling is fake, guys. If you don't think it's fake, just watch Unreal. It's a fake sport. It's like acting. You can go as long as there's money on the table. Maybe one of his kids, like just think of it, for instance, if he makes like another 5-6 million this year, that's enough to take care of one of his kids for life. Why would you not do that? I don't know. If nothing else, be a humanitarian. Take the 6 million, donate it to poor people or the Humane Society. Why not? Yeah, Dark Side is coming back, I believe, but they seem to get lamer and lamer every year. Ric Flair is back, teasing he's going to wrestle again. Another one of these guys that did not save his money. And Ric Flair is one of the sad wrestlers, but my friend Brian the other day that doesn't even watch wrestling, he just follows the news and watches highlights here and there. He just noticed, to me, the one thing he said of interest was, what's in the wrestling news these days? Oh, Ric Flair might come back. Oh, Ric Flair's getting drunk. What's in the wrestling news today more that's interesting than, oh, Austin Theory is going to be one of the future stars, is, oh, Ric Flair got drunk and did a cameo. People are more interested in that than hearing about today's wrestlers, because they're nerds. They're nerds that play video games. They're yes men. They listen to agents. Oh, and they get it. I don't have any issues with Maven anymore, guys. I think he had said something that insulted me because he had brought Justin Credible on his show and made it seem like Justin Credible was not the slime ball that he is. I have direct experience with Credible being a slime ball. And I wish Credible luck, but I think Maven took that back. But the one thing, I did actually watch his review of Unreal, which he must be in with WWE somehow, because they let him use a lot of WWE footage for that. And if I tried that, they'd have my channel shut down. But, and I know he works with Chris Van Vliet, who's also involved with WWE. I think they have some sort of collaboration. But there was a point in Maven's review, which I thought was good, where he's saying, oh, Triple H saw something in the match that he didn't like. Now they're going to get in trouble. It's like, really? Do I want wrestlers that are worried, oh, we're going to get in trouble? We're going to get in trouble if we don't do what the producer says. Like, what kind of geeks? Do you think Austin cared about getting in trouble? It's so lame these days. Oh, we better do exactly what the producer says, or Triple H is going to have his poo-poo face on in the back, because you got to do everything the exact way he says, or he's not going to make that picture with you after the show. I don't know, man. Don't like wrestling today.